Alright, here to do another pick review. I want to start out with a couple caveats. First of all, a microphone change. I have changed microphones to ribbon microphones since last time I did a pick review. Last time I was using a small diaphragm Gafel M300. Now I'm using a Royer R122 Mark II, which I've been using for recording. I'm going to stay consistent with that probably from now on. If anything, the consistent thing between all my videos should be that I'm always using a BlueChip CT-55, one of the most common, most beloved mandolin picks of all time. And you should be able to tell the difference between any new picks I test and the CT-55. Other pick that I've been using most of the time recently is a D'Addario casein Chris Thile 1.4 millimeter. That'll be one of the other big comparisons that I use probably through or for a long time in the future. And then the pick of today is the Hawk ToneBird 5 1.4 millimeter. From the description I gathered on the website, this is also a casein pick. I believe that like the word milk protein or milk material, milk derived material, something like that was used on the site. I'm not sure it said casein, but it looks like casein, feels like casein, sounds like casein. Between when I drop it and when I play it, I'm pretty sure it's a casein pick, and it comes with all the standard warnings of don't bend it, don't get it wet or anything like that, because the material can break down. Some people think casein's super fragile and stuff like that. This is one of the more notoriously fragile casein picks, the D'Addario one, and this one's 11 months old. I've been using it constantly that entire time, and it's still doing great. So it's not like you look at it wrong, it's going to shatter. I drop it all the time. I play really hard and don't always dry my hands perfectly, so it's not quite as sensitive as some people think. Other caveats. As I go through testing, I kind of call it the fallacy of the endpoint rejection. So as you hear things that are maybe brighter to less bright, you may reject the ones that are the most anything, the most bright, the most dark, the most plinky, the most funky sounding. Don't do that, because really it's not like we're comparing a really bad pick to a really good pick in any of these cases. We're comparing all really good picks usually. Every once in a while I'll do something crazy, but all these should be good picks. So I would again start with the CT-55 sound, because a lot of people have one of those, or you can see other videos maybe that you like, and kind of from that hear the differences, and then I'll also try to give qualitative results as well. Yeah, so about the Hawk itself then. So I actually heard about this from a comment on my YouTube channel under another pick review, and I just got it today. It's from the UK, so it's not exactly a homemade thing, a US made thing, but honestly, the price was fine. So the D'Addario pick has gotten a little bit, I think, more expensive recently. I think it's around like $25 per pick, which is fairly expensive, but I think the BlueChip is around like 30, 35, something like that. This one started for 12 pounds, but after currency conversion and international shipping and whatever taxes applied, it got to me for $21.45, which is still less than either of these two other picks. And honestly, I think it sounds really good. A thing that I noticed as soon as I pulled it out of the packaging, and not quite sure you'll be able to tell, but the points on the pick seem to be shaped a bit sharper than I'm used to. It's super subtle. If I put the picks next to each other, you probably wouldn't really be able to tell. But they do have a little bit more grab to them, and that is something that I've used in the past and I kind of liked. I find with the more rounded tips on picks, if you get the angle slightly off, all of a sudden the sound can disappear, and if you get them too flat, they sound really plinky. So kind of the pointed tip can make it easier to play, and I find that to be true with this pick as well. It's very easy to play. I don't have to worry about just the right angle or just the right grip pressure to make it work out. And I think the sound is super comparable. I'll try to save the words I use to kind of describe these three picks to the end, try to let you derive your own conclusions first. But I'll get into it now. So I'll start with the CT-55 as a common pick, and I'll just do a slow scale here. arpeggio. Hopefully you can already hear some of the differences there. Do something with, I think probably the best song I can use right now to tell the difference between these is something where I try to go for a dark, really tony sound all the time. So I'm going to use the Prelude from Bach's Fifth Cello Suite. Some differences there. We'll try another a Reichman song, Coyote Trail, Coyote Ridge, Coyote something. So again, this is where that warning of don't exclude the endpoints. I feel like the Hawk is noticeably brighter, but as I play, I don't really notice it being a problem necessarily. Sorry. Okay, so I'll try a little bit of Red-Haired Boy, see if I can kind of demonstrate that. you can see it, but when I play with this pick, again with the pointier tips, I feel like my whole hand relaxes, my grip relaxes a lot more just because the pointier tip grabs at the notes a lot better. I feel like after I played with this pick for a while, I would end up kind of probably tilting the pick more into the string to kind of round that feeling off a little bit. It would be there available, and I would kind of adjust to it and make it a little bit maybe less bright, less tingly than it is right now. Let me just do a few little pattern things, I think, and wrap it up. But I think they kind of, especially on the higher strings, make the biggest difference. Let me see if I can kind of round the pick in a little bit and see if I can get a better tone. I don't know if you heard the difference. When I first started, it was a little bit muted. And then I went harder, or I changed the sound. I'll change it in the middle of playing. So what I did there was I just angled the pick from forward, back flatter. So if you like having a little bit more flat of an attack against the string, you can get very close to the same sound between these two picks. So I'm hearing a little bit of a squeak as I play the G string. There it is. There's a little bit of a bevel corner or something, I think, that makes the pick thin enough to reach in between the windings of the string a lot more easily than, well, if I angle it that hard, it does it. But the bevels don't seem quite as glossed over, quite as wide as the kind of the Chris Thile design picks. So there's a little bit of a squeak there that I hear sometimes that may go away with playing, or just a different technique. So honestly, so if I were to explain the differences between these, with BlueChip kind of being a standard pick, I kind of find the sound a little bit diffuse, not very focused. I find the Dario casein kind of the opposite. It's a very intense, very focused sound, a bit loud, almost a bit yelly. Kind of sounds like it's yelling all the time, which is one reason I did not like this pick on my old mandolin. And this one sounds like it's, again, like it's a little bit thinner of a pick. It almost sounds like it's slapping a little bit. It may kind of break in. Again, reference my last video about an old casein pick versus a new casein pick. It may break in, interestingly. But honestly, as I play with this one, I don't find it generally objectionable. I find it very easy to play. I like the sound. And again, it's the least expensive of the picks on the table right now. Again, I would recommend checking them out. A Hawk ToneBird 5 comes in 3 or 4 different colors. I don't think it changes the characteristics of the pick at all. But I'll just play a little bit more with this one, just for amusement and hopefully some extra sound for you to listen to. actually, one more note about these. Something I fight in some of my recordings is kind of this thunking, knocking sound as I pick. Of the three of these, if I were to rank them, I would pick this one as having the most thunky sound, this one a little bit less, this one with the least. See if you can hear that a little bit, especially when I play on the A string, I notice it most. Where I notice that is when I play a faster song, like almost a perpetual motion, and you kind of start blanking out the notes, and you just kind of hear the pick in the background. Yeah, not gonna get a lot of difference there. Sorry. But yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons I've stopped personally using the CT-55. Just for me, my instrument, my microphones, my room, all that stuff. It kind of had a little bit too much thunk per note for me, which is kind of one of the reasons I kind of like the Hawk right now. I have a feeling I'll probably still gravitate toward this one just because it doesn't seem to have some of the harsher tones that this one's bringing out right now, but I'll see how this one breaks in. I'll be interested to try it. So hopefully that was helpful.